Welcome again to this new presentation of the book that Iva Filipi read for her coaching certification journey. So Iva, I don't want to take space from you, and I leave you all the space to introduce the book that you have read and your considerations on that.
Yeah, Christina, thank you. And now I would like to share with you my presentations. So I just share and I verify and check if you can see the slides of my presentation. Yes.
We can, yes, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. And thank you, Christina, and thank you, everybody. And yes, as Christina said, I will be presenting on Coach the Person and Not the Problem by Marcia Reynolds today. And especially, I would like also to share with you just a little bit of the impact that this book had on me as a coach and also through my L3 level journey here in Sunlight Academy. Well, I have discovered this book during my PCC path, and what really strongly resonated with me was the perspective of identity coaching. Because in my earlier coaching, it was like I sometimes tended to be fascinated by client stories or issues. But as a result, I was becoming a thinker instead of a coach. And as Marcia writes in her book, we coaches should act as thinking partners and not the thinkers. And this was really like a big moment, big aha shift for me, and maybe the key of my inner transformation. Because as thinking partners, we really know how to honor or empower the client's greatness to support them in their discoveries. So, also thanks to this book, I'm also here and I received another gift, you, Sunlight Academy community. And here I am right now also experiencing this transformation, and not in a matter of coach identity, but as well in a matter of human being identity. Marcia also writes in her book that identity coaching can be known or called as awareness-based coaching. And really, this also happened to me because as I have started to focus on clients' identity coaching, my coach identity has emerged. New coach identity has emerged, exactly as you can see here in the picture. And it was something like revolution in my coaching because focusing on clients' identity brought more awareness to clients, and especially it brought the strengthening of partnership with clients. It also nourishes trust and safety in coaching with clients. And moreover, it also helped me as a coach to get from the level of asking to the level of engaging the client by inviting him to share more about himself. What's more, this identity coaching perspective also showed me or enabled me to see the client and more his greatness and really honor his leading role in coaching session. And thanks identity coaching, also more fluidity has occurred in coaching session with clients. Another benefit that I really gained thanks to identity coaching perspective is that it really helps me to step back, and to return to clients' uniqueness. And this perspective of identity also helped me to better understand the difference between PCC and MCC coach identity, where from my MCC level perspective, I perceive that to integrate the identity is is a way of being. Whereas in my PCC, as I have mentioned, or tended to be more in doing than in being. And so sometimes I led to be in doing, like I was immersed in thinking, analyzing, like you can see here in the picture, the first phase that is immersed in water. And what was really the biggest gift from this identity coaching perspective for me was that now I see the client as a human gift who invites me into his life, and I'm grateful and honored to be there with him just for a while. Thanks to focus on client's identity, I've become more silent coach. Because at the beginning of my L3 journey, I sometimes faced the challenge like, how long should I hold the silence and not to interrupt the client? And being more silent coach changed the state or the way of my being with clients. My silence or the silence in coaching became the intentional silence. And this intention brought in the coaching with clients that I've started to be more being and less doing. This intentional silence also brought less questions of mine and more clients' awareness. This intentional silence brought or strengthened not only the presence, but especially the partnership with clients. And as I have mentioned, I'm becoming more and more a client-led coach thanks to this. Marcia writes in her book that silence can serve as well as active aspect of clients' growth. So this helped me to really see the silence as a source that can help in clients' growth. And thanks to this intention in silence, I'm also more and more pausing at a moment in coaching before I react to clients' answers. And thanks to this, I allow myself extended time in my reflection. And what was a big, amazing, surprising for me was that this extended time suddenly showed me my new own biases that didn't serve me in my role as a coach, because it were biases like, hey, I say should something, so I look experienced now. So thanks this intention in silence and thanks to this extended time I allowed myself, I really saw new me that I needed to let go. So thanks to this perspective of silence, maybe I have become not only more silent coach, but maybe as well more courageous coach. Well, after offering these two perspectives of identity and silence, I would like to offer you just for a short self-reflection and maybe answer your question, what is your biggest change as a coach?
Can give you some minutes or some seconds to reflect, and we open this space for sharing about what has been or what is your biggest change that you have embodied as a coach recently or generally speaking in your life as a coach. Vit.
Yes, actually, I think the biggest change during this, when I was studying this school and read this book as well, is that we should do much less than we maybe think.
Mm.
And it's about trust very much, that I trust a client that he will come up with his ideas, he will get where he needs to get, not more. And yeah, I can speak about this long time, but we should do less than we think initially when we start coaching.
Yeah, thank you, Reid, very much, because that's exactly what I'm even more uncovering in this presentation on my journey. And I'm absolutely agreed with that, what you have mentioned.
I do the managing work, the administrative work. We have Lydia in the chat, and she wrote shifting from being solutions oriented towards client autonomy, which is also great, a great impact and a great, a deep change. And thank you, Lydia. And Sharon also raised a hand.
Thanks, Christina. So Eva, for me, I think similar to what others are saying, just that the wisdom that lies in the client and learning to just breathe. I've seen so much transformation in the client without me doing much, but just being able to create the conditions. And it's a co-created space. So I'm seeing that shift and trusting that the client knows what to do. So that has been, yeah, the biggest change for me.
Yeah, thank you for all these perspectives and sharings, because I feel it also enriches this discussion about this topic. And yeah, you already touched what I am now just even more uncovering in my L3 evolutionary journey. And as I have mentioned before, and
We
you
also have, Eva, just sorry to interrupt you. We also have another couple of comments in the chat.
Yes, sorry. Yeah,
Giselle
of course.
is saying, my biggest change is to be patient and let the client lead. And then Eileen also writing, focusing more on the who of the client and less on the what, being more curious about what is meaningful to the client and what the sessions, what connects to their identity.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Christina. And yeah, exactly. Coaching, identity coaching as the coaching of the level who. Yeah. As I've mentioned, also really touched my inner who and my human being identity, as I have mentioned before. And thanks to focus on clients' identity coaching, together with the embracement of the silence, as I have mentioned here, I have strengthened the connection with the client. And this was also like a big shift in my coaching. Marcia writes in her book about using of reflective inquiry, the tool that helps catch and return back to client by using of sharing, noticing, acknowledging the client's language, so the client could hear or see what he expressed. Then, after this sharing, the coach invites the client to contribute to coach's reaction. But why I'm talking here about this tool of reflective inquiry, because it strongly helped me with strengthening the connection with clients. Because thanks more noticing, acknowledging, or observations, I stopped thinking in my coaching, because I was even more attuned to the client as a whole person, as a unique person. And what's more, that I am gradually even more allowing myself to be guided by the client. And this meant absolutely a new perspective in my coaching, that I allow myself to be guided. And this reflective inquiry helped me really with the focus on the client as a gift that is fully resourceful. Concerning this sharing or observation, acknowledging, I'm not only stopped thinking, but I've also nourished again the aspect of trust, as you have mentioned here. because from my MCC level perspective, I perceive that it is in this environment of trust that there is hidden all the answers and all the questions. And reflective inquiry also helped me with my abilities in lens of competencies. For example, in competency 7, it helped me in a matter of sharing observations of insights, ideas to evoke or to stimulate clients' awareness. It also helped me to advance my ability in competence 6 in matter of active listening. Because thanks using this tool and being even more attuned to the client, I feel that now I can much better see or hear what wasn't spoken, but was heard by the heart. And finally, also in terms of competency 4, it helped me to advance my ability in the level of trust and safety. So this was also a big aha moment for me, that connection can be such a strength, or can be strengthened in such a deep way, thanks this acknowledging, noticing, and being attuned to the client uniqueness. Well, I have just described this my experience, and I've spoken here mainly about the perspective of identity, silence, and connection. And these 3 perspectives or aspects I really perceive from my MCC level perspective as essential aspects or signs that are also connected with the level of both presence and with the level of being. Because again, from my MCC level perspective, I perceive that the level of presence and the way of being are signs, one of sides that indicate how much the role of a coach is already embodied. And my described experience of these 3 perspectives resulted in something like I have named like my new dimensions in my coaching. And I'm really uncovering through my L3 journey new 4 dimensions in my coaching. All of them are connected or linked with the level of presence and with the level of being. The first one is, as I have already mentioned, that thanks to this experience and learning during this journey, I got from the responsibility mode to the resonance mode. In the responsibility mode, I was like a thinker, analyzer, maybe sometimes fixer, and sometimes I also overtook the responsibility for the client. Shifting to resonance mode, now I perceive from my MCC level perspective like it's an environment where my questions suddenly are coming from the present, out of reflections, no more out of memory. Resonance mode, I also perceive as a special or sacred energy connection between 2 nervous systems, the client's and the mine. And this is a special sacred connection of human belonging, where I, as a coach, hold this sacred space with genuine curiosity to honor the client's uniqueness and to support him in their discoveries. The second dimension is that I advanced from the level of using a skill to the level of being a skill. In the mode using a skill, I was like, again, the thinker. I was more in understanding mode, in rational thinking. And I was very often in the mode like I should do, I should enhance, I should improve. Really like you can see in the picture, just add new cube, new skill to the row of cubes. but it was more like a performative mode. Shifting to being a skill, from my MCC level perspective, I perceive that it's mainly linked with the embracement of whatever comes. Again, as you can see in the picture, sun, rain, fog, cold sore, whatever, about the embracement of strong emotions of clients, of not knowing, and also about the embracement of fluidity in the coaching conversation with client. Being as a skill is also demonstrated in my dimension with intentional silence that helps me more be, more see, feel, and being a skill is for me as well more linked with heart intelligence, with heart resonance. And concerning the mode here, being a skill, it's no more a performative mode, but again, from my MCC level perspective, I perceive it like more embodied mode, where things are becoming embodied. Again, as you can see here in the picture, the battery that is growing among the trees and that is being integrated among the trees. The third, my dimension in coaching was that I extended spoken language to energy language. Thanks to reflective inquiry, as I already mentioned, I really started more acknowledging, noticing, but observing client as a whole. It means also his nonverbal behavior, signs, aspects, and what came to me as a new awareness in my journey, that I was more aware of client's breath, of his rhythm, of his speed, and what's more, I have gradually been aware of the harmony between the client's breath and mine. And this enriched coaching in many aspects, especially energetic aspects. And this also enabled me to even more honor the client's leading role in coaching conversations. And the fourth dimension I've uncovered during my L3 journey is getting from doing coaching a skill to being a coach. Again, from the level of doing to the level of being. And as Marcia writes in her book, we are defined by how we are. Well, the being is that what most matters and what most speaks. Well, the final perspective that is linked with the level of presence and being that Marcia also offers in her book is perspective of an observer and absorber. Observer is that part of us that maintains presence, and the absorber is that part of us that tends to be fascinated by stories and becomes emotionally. So observer is more like being and absorber is more like doing. And thanks to this, my self-development in the level of presence, I'm now even more becoming an observer than an absorber. And it really helps me to manage my emotions and also judgments that are coming up to my mind. And here I ask you or invite you to last self-reflection concerning this perspective of observer or absorber. When are you more an observer, and what happens inside of you?
It's a pretty insightful consideration, and thank you for nudging us or inviting us to explore. It would be interesting to hear from you. When are you entering the observer mode? What needs to happen to you? And you can write in the chat or open the microphone.
I think that for me, when I'm an observer, I feel inside of myself more grounded, probably more calm. And being grounded, then I'm also more open to just observing, to listening, to absorbing, and doing so also without trying to put myself in the situation or think about how to respond, but really just accepting.
Thank you. We have also a comment in the chat. Giselle, you write, it happens that I tend to disconnect and lose attention, so I have to use other skills to keep my focus. So it is about, from what I hear, it's also about supporting you to find ways to support you to keep the focus. And you will be amazed, just a glimpse of the new edition, the new version of the ICF competencies, how these aspects will be enhanced by the ICF. Very important.
Yeah, well, if I manage to really be just an observer, which means it's connected to my previous comment to do less, to not want to help the client to solve the issue, then I see more. Then I see more. There is a space for more senses and feelings, and I see more, and I can reflect more things, not just words, but also energy, as Iva said, breath, for example, and so on and so on. So I can be a better coach.
Thank you, Vit, again. Definitely, I agree. And what is coming up to my mind that my journey is linked with a lot of letting go, yeah, during this process. Yeah. Well, thank all of you, and because we are nearly reaching the end of our time together, so I would like to invite you also into my inner deep self-reflection, because all these described experience, but also all the reflections and self-reflections I'm going through my L3 evolutionary journey reminded me the oracle in Delphi, where above the entrance was written the inscription Gnoti se auton. In English, it means know yourself. And I'm just sharing it here with you because my L3 journey here is my Gnoti se auton, because I'm really touching every day to my deepest human essence. And my L3 journey here is also a diamond journey, because I'm every day experiencing and learning more clarity, refinement, and also resistance, such as like are aspects of a diamond. So this was one of my last sharing, and I wanted, before I say goodbye to you, I just wanted to say goodbye with you with one of my quote of my beloved book, The Little Prince. And I thank you for your attention, and especially that I could be here together with you, and for the sacred space of Sunlight Academy community.
Thank you, Iva, for this beautiful presentation and this engaging presentation, insightful, and also for the final reflection. That's my encouragement also to see with the heart, connect here with the heart, and bring your own perspective. Thank you so much. I honor your journey as much as I do with the other students, and this has been another milestone in your journey. So I'll close the recording now for another presentation today that we will record. So thank you so much.
I thank you for support. Thanks.